Io is mine. And I don't mind going through anyone who thinks otherwise.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Ring the Bell. My name is Joey. I'm your dad bod Batcat demigod. Joining me, as always, is
the interdimensional Shiro Moxie Molly. After last night, I think you could also call me domestic goddess.
You are a domestic goddess. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, last night was Moxie's big SummerSlam pool party. It was like the best time ever. But first, let's go ahead and jump into talking about what happened on NXT TakeOver 30 because this was a big night. It felt big, and then the set felt big. Everything about this felt kind of more WrestleMania than WrestleMania felt this year. So, of course, we're looking forward to the match that happened for the NXT Women's Championship, but we did get a little taste of some unpredictable women's action in the form of the ladder match that happened for the North American title. Candice LeRae got involved with her husband and wound up jumping on the back of Bronson Reed and taking a ride off the ladder with him into that splash. That was so cool.
I know that there's always like WWE, AEW, WWE, AEW, which one's better? But like, I feel like WWE, we at least see every week a little bit something new, especially with the women. And so, I don't know, I really loved it.
I love it. And it just is a testament to showing that they really have faith in the women to jump into these storylines again. Because I remember back in like the golden era, the attitude era, whenever women would get involved in the men's storyline, it always advanced their career and gave them that extra little pop. And I think this is going to happen for Candice LeRae.
I also like that they trust Candice that she can get involved with like a dude, because for so long they were like, men and women do not touch each other in the ring. And so now I think it's showing that like they know that she knows her body well enough and she knows what she's doing well enough that she could do a spot like this.
It paid off. It was the one spot of that match that I was like, ooh, okay, this is fun. That's it for the women's action in that match. Now we have to talk about the match that we did get, because it was Dakota Kai with Raquel Gonzales finally coming after Io Shirai for that belt. This match, it kind of left me a little bit. Like, I really liked it, but some of it just felt really slow, especially at the beginning, and it really kind of hyped itself up towards the end, and that's kind of it.
I liked this match. I think that I've heard that people thought it was boring. I don't think it was boring. I do think it went a little too long, which I don't usually say that about Io Shirai matches. I'm a little cloudy, besides the end, why Raquel was needed out there, because she really didn't get involved that much. Something seemed off, because between both Io and Kai, because two different times you could see where timing was off for just a second.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, we are living through a worldwide pandemic. Like, your mind can be a billion different other places, but I just don't know where Io's mind was. Like, when she went to do the thing off the ropes and come flip backwards, I don't think it was supposed to happen where she kind of hurt herself for a second.
I mean, you're never supposed to kind of hurt yourself. That's
right.
The thing.
Even like Dakota Kai was kind of like she didn't know what to do. It just seemed like there was a lot of timing issues, but the match, I think, was probably more like NXT Wednesday night worthy, but I still think it was good. And we saw Io retain.
I can agree with what you're saying. I think the thing that got me with it was, again, like you said, it was just way too long, because I was watching it trying to figure out, what are the big spots in this match? What's getting me invested? And honestly, there really wasn't much in the match that made me pay attention to it up until Io finally did that like jump up springboard double stomp to Dakota on the apron. That was kind of that first moment where I went, ooh, okay, here's some little gems in this match. And then they kind of started sprinkling them out from there, but that was still about 6-7 minutes into the match.
Definitely had a slow pickup. It might have been the story they were trying to tell, but I really don't understand the story they were trying to tell. But
I mean, the story that it wound up being was they were setting up for a completely different match entirely. Now for something completely different,
Yeah.
We saw Io retain after Raquel kind of got involved. She set her up for the classic heel, like, big person comes in while the ref's down, and then that didn't work. That's the real extent we saw Raquel get involved in the match. And then afterwards, there was the whole beatdown that was going to happen until Rhea Ripley came in, one, looking fierce as this was the best I've seen Rhea Ripley look aesthetic-wise ever. That black lipstick, that top she was wearing. Oh my God, daddy. Like, whoa. There's one other thing that got me. It was the first time that she did a run-in. She didn't do her whole entrance. She didn't. She ran straight out.
This is not the way my entrance should be. But also, I don't know. Although she's still that like really kick-ass, badass gimmick, I feel like we're seeing her kind of evolve into something less metal and hardcore and more like Dominatrix.
Yeah.
And I know because I watched Total Divas, at some point Natalya was trying to do something like this, but I feel like Rhea actually has the attitude to do something like this. And I think Rhea might actually be like, she gives me vibes that this could be her real life. Like that she's like just dominating life and anyone who she wishes through life. Where Natalya's kind of like sweet and demure and you can't really see her bossing people around.
No, she's a cat lady. I don't think she's a dominatrix. I could totally see Rhea pulling off the dominatrix thing, but not like a dominatrix, like sexy kind of thing, like boss ass dom kind of energy. Hashtag BDE, all of that. And we saw her step up to Raquel Gonzales, and that was everything. I'm like, I want this match now. Ring the freaking bell.
Yes. Hey, that's the name of our channel. With everything you're saying, it made me so excited. And then Raquel, there's not very many people that can make her seem small. And Rhea didn't make her seem small, but Rhea definitely measured up. Fierce talk back and forth, and all I could think about was, hey, they're not social distancing. And then Raquel steps back, and then Rhea just is like, and steps right back in her face. It was good.
It was so good. I'm ready for this match. I'm hoping it comes this Wednesday, but if it doesn't and they build to something even bigger, chef's kiss. Love it.
I was just a little sad because I really thought Rhea and Shotzi were making a great tag team, but I think this is showing that that's not something we're going to continue to see.
I mean, why not? Both of them have tag team partners.
Oh, you're right. I didn't think about it like that.
Could you imagine a takeover where it is Shotzi and Rhea versus Raquel and Dakota for the women's tag team championships?
Yeah.
Give it. Overall, what did you think of what they gave us for TakeOver 30?
The actual match for the NXT Women's Championship, I feel like it fell a little flat, but overall, I think that they set us up for so much. It's invigorating, and I'm excited to see where all of this goes.
I'm really excited to see where it goes. And speaking of seeing where things go and things getting switched up, let's talk about the competition real quick, because we got a special Dynamite that happened on Saturday alongside TakeOver for basketball. Let's talk about the little stuff before we talk about the big stuff. So setting up for next week, we saw Britt Baker having a conversation with Penelope Ford, where she basically recruited Penelope to be the third member of the handicap match against Big Swole. So it sets up to be Ford, Baker, and Reba versus Swole next week in the big, I guess, payoff match for this, or hopefully it's setting up for more matches.
I think that we have watched this go on and go on and go on. There's nothing they can do about Britt being injured, and I think they did a really good job of keeping her relevant and her momentum while injured, because usually when people are injured, they just don't get, time on television. You don't see their face. But it has gone on, not nobody's fault, but it has gone on a little long. So I'm glad to see this payoff. I'm glad to see Britt back, because last time we saw her, she was just reaching this level we needed in AEW and hadn't seen her in. So I hope that she's still there. And Penelope Ford is someone I think that we need to see more of. And so I'm glad that she's there. What I'm worried about is if this being a handicap match, we don't want them to make Swole look weak. So if Swole can beat all three of them, that's probably what we want the outcome to be. But then it also makes Britt and Penelope not look so great. So I don't know. There's so much star power in this match. It's going to end someone. And I hope it's Swole ends up pinning Reba, which is probably what it's going to be. Yeah. But I just really don't want... Reba's done her time though. She's...
Oh, I love Reba. I think everything she's contributed to this has really helped further this storyline. But the thing that I'm worried about is is Britt actually cleared, or are they just going to have her go out there and stand on the apron? And
anything we get will be good, but it's true. Like, if she's not cleared, they're probably just rushing this a little bit, and they stand to possibly an accident happen and she get even more injured, you know? So I don't know how I feel about it.
I mean, I agree with you. I think she'll be safe overall, but you know, we saw Ember Moon get a career-ending injury just by running, and that was it, you know? Hopefully it doesn't lead to something bad like that, and hopefully it leads to a better payoff, because after all we've invested into this storyline, we need a good payoff for it. And I think that's where we're worried, because AEW is not really known for the best payoffs. We do have to move on to talk about the finals of the Deadly Draw, the Women's Tag Team Cup, because they swerved us. They got us.
If you remember on our last review, I'm like, maybe they'll let them win and be like, ha ha ha, we fooled you. So I'm glad that is how it happened. So many people were tagging us on Twitter, and like I put a gif where I was like, I heard the news and I was like, oh, thank God. Like,
I know.
Right.
Getting to see them pick up that win. The match itself wasn't, you know, a 5-star throwdown match, especially when you compare it to other women's tag team matches that we've seen recently. But it was solid. It was good. You can tell it was planned and rehearsed and worked through. The thing about it was, the thing that paid off here big time was the fact that they swerved us, because everyone was dreading Brandi getting that belt, and it just worked. And it worked through what we saw at the end of the show as well.
We don't know what actually was planned. This happens in wrestling all the time. Just like how we all know that Kylie and then Nyla was supposed to be the first champion, but instead they gave it to Riho because like Nyla had some not so great stuff go on Twitter. We don't know if they decided not to give it to Brandi because of all the flack and how she had that small moment where she had to take a break from Twitter, you know? So it really does feel like this was set up to have Brandi win. But then it really does feel like that finally AEW is listening to the fans like they always said they do and gave us something we wanted. I still don't necessarily know if at the beginning of the tournament I wanted Diamente and Ivelisse to win, but I'm happy with it because so you remember when they wrestled each other and we didn't so much care for it? I like them as a tag team. I think they do well as a tag team. I still think there's a little bit more they haven't shown us. Maybe just the nerves of being on national television has them holding back. There's something there we haven't seen yet. And I think that maybe they needed this to like solidify in their brain that they are where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, and I mean, the only thing that's not solidified with them, their wrestling's fantastic. Their facial work, fantastic. But the only real gimmick they have right now is their nationality. And that's never really worked as a gimmick. They both have these tough girl personas. And, you know, it's not even a persona. I've met both of them. They're both tough as nails. But it's kind of like, okay, we get it. We know where you're from. But throw us a little bit more. Yeah, who are you? Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's the only thing that's missing. I did enjoy them being like, we don't want roses at the end and chucking those down and just being like celebratory. I thought that was a little fun.
Yeah, I will tell you also at the end of the Deadly Draw tournament last week where they were like, we're not just doing this for this cup, we're doing this for our people. I really like the message that they won. You know what I mean? And I feel like when they said we don't want these roses and they threw them down, it feels like they're saying like, you know, we're not finished yet. Like, we're not just going to celebrate this moment. We're going to use this as fuel to go harder because we still have something to prove. And I hope that's where this is going, mixed with them finding a little bit of real gimmick.
I'm just wondering, how are they going to continue as a tag team? Are these medals going to represent belts? What's going to happen here? Yeah. That's the only thing, is like they don't have a women's tag team division. They've got some teams that they made up now.
As we saw like with the Mae Young Classic, the winner, a singular one, got to get signed and get like an NXT contract. They don't have something like this. So I'm sure we'll see both of them at least get a, you know, short-term contract to, you know, play up what they just accomplished. But it really will be nice to see where this goes. I'm
hoping to see if they announce something on Dynamite, but it's kind of me holding my breath and hoping that they do something, because again, storyline continuity is not something that AEW is known for, especially in the women's division.
While we might have gotten swerved by Brandi and Allie not winning the Tag Team Cup, we were sure as hell surprised when Thunder Rosa, of all people, popped up on Dynamite declaring that the NWA Women's Champion is now coming for the AEW Women's Champion. This should be amazing. Thunder Rosa is a well-traveled veteran and amazing in the ring. If you haven't caught her, then you definitely need to look up some matches. And her versus Sheeta is set to be probably one of the best women's matches we've seen on AEW Dynamite.
The last little tidbit that we got of the evening, this was probably my moment of Saturday, period, because the Dark Order came out and Brody Lee squashed Cody to get that belt. And then the Dark Order just took it to the Nightmare family. Yep. And they took out everybody. Arn Anderson, QT, Dustin. They were all laid out. And then Brandi finally runs out, covers Cody's body. Like, you're not going to attack a girl. You're not going to do that. And then they just call over Anna Jay. And Anna Jay saunters over with a nice new facial expression. You know, she seems like she's really, they kind of coached her in what this character work should be. And just lays on a vicious chokehold and chokes Brandi out and sets it all up. And I was like, this is what I needed. Oh my God. It's kind of like an entire reset for AEW, and I'm hoping they follow through with it.
So when I saw this, I was like, how many times are we going to see Brandi come out and cover her husband? She does it all the time. And it's like, I get it. We're not going to disguise the fact that that's her husband, but it's like, you're either his valet and you're always out there, or you are a tag team competitor. Like, this blurring it, you're supposed to be a bad guy, and then you come out and try to seek sympathy for a person who's a good guy. Like, it's just blurring what you are.
They have been both doing like this tweener type deal where they're supposed to be faces, but they're overly cocky and they're trying to figure out what's going on. It's a little messy because you do need that clear definition.
But that's what I was going to say is, first when I saw Brandi, I was like, ugh. But when they did this thing with Anna Jay, I was like, yes. Because I was like, yes. For Anna Jay finally being not just, you know.
And she did not come out wearing that mask.
Yes. And she's like giving us personality now. Like, we're starting to see at least what she was brought into the Dark Order for.
Loved Anna Jay, but hey, Moxie.
Hey, Joey.
What is your...
Hey, Joey.
What is your boom blast moment of the night?
Of the night. Yeah, you're right, because we already did it of the week.
My boom blast moment is by far Anna Jay choking out Brandi Rhodes.
That was going to be my boom blast.
Hey, that's awesome, because our boom blast is both from AEW. We're wanting to see the storyline progress. I hope it does.
Do you want to hear my sarcastic comment when I saw Anna Jay choking out Brandi Rhodes?
Yes.
I was like, oh, that's Joey and I's, like, incarnation. But listen, I got some hate mail about my rant on Brandi. Listen, I don't hate Brandi. I hate the way they're utilizing her and just Roman Reignsing her. Although now I love Roman Reigns. But at that point, way back, when they were just like shoving him in our face. And how many times have I been like, Brandi's getting better. Like, I've sung her praises. I'm just like, you're not putting her in the storylines and giving us a new dynamic women's division that you promised. You're kind of doing everything they used to do back in the day. So we don't hate Brandi. We just don't like the way she's being utilized. But this changed it. We like this way she was being utilized.
Yes, this was great. And hopefully they follow up and give us some more fresh storyline continuation on Dynamite this Thursday.
And more fresh Anna Jay, because we love it.
More so fresh, so clean. I love it. Hey, Moxie.
Hey, Joey.
Where can the people find you?
Find me across all social media platforms at that's THEE, Moxie Molly. And don't forget, we have a Teespring that you can get lots of cool merch from.
Also, don't forget that we have a Patreon that you can subscribe to. And also, I have a channel that you can subscribe to. Please go do it. It's for me. And you can follow me on social media at Joey_Mayberry. That didn't rhyme. All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning over to this special Saturday takeover / Dynamite edition of Ring the Bell. We will see see you very, very soon. For now, I'm gonna go back to Moxie's house and swim in the pool. Bye!